Welcome to the Solemn Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today I'm gonna go over the best cards to get and or craft in this new pack. So Heroic Warriors dropped, and inside it we find Therion, Libromancers, and then some other stuff. So again, when we go over these cards, my goal is to tell you what the best cards are in here. If you, however, really like an archetype that maybe I'm not currently seeing the highest competitive value in, that's fine. You can still build that. I'm just gonna give you what I know from the TCG, and hopefully you can put it to good use. So Avendred Savior, again, Vendred is not the greatest archetype. It is possible, it's maybe better in Master Duel, but I personally wouldn't really be going for it. Heroic Champion, okay. What's far more interesting is the Libromancers and the Therions in this pack. So Libromancer is a ritual archetype, as you can see here with Doombroker and so forth. However, they are also a relatively splashable engine. In the TCG, Libromancer was never a competitive powerhouse. Be aware of that. It is definitely not a Sprite, Tier, Punk branded type level of deck, but we did see it being splashed in certain decks. We saw Libromancers being alright, you know, in a Punk Libromancer hybrid. Right now we see Libromancer being thrown in actually some cards that are about to come out in the TCG, but it is not the best archetype in this set. If you're interested in this, the most important cards are Fire right here at a 3-off, Geek Boy at a 3-off, and then it kind of depends on how heavy you're building this. Doombroker is definitely one of the big rituals in here. Fireburst is also ran, but like, again, it depends on how many you're really gonna be playing. First Appearance is their field spell. We also see that ran at 3, at least from the builds I've seen so far. But the best cards in this pack for sure are the Therions. If you remember the Brave engine with Wandering Griffin Rider being like a really easy Omni-negate, Therions are kind of like that. They are splashable as an engine, but they can also be played as like a bigger deck. However, when we saw them having some competitive success, you know, in regionals and sometimes even YCSs, they were usually an engine thrown into something. We saw Therions being played with Punks to some solid effect. We saw Therions being played with Tearlaments afterwards. However, they were never the primary top competing deck. So when you see Therions, don't assume, oh, this is like branded right now. It should be slightly lower than that. Their biggest weakness is their brickiness. You do need to get a Therion in the graveyard or a type that matches it. So for example, Regulus works really well with machines. This is why ABC will absolutely play Therions. This is why Cyber Dragons will absolutely play Therions. Do you want to see a deck profile for that? Let me know in the comments down below. So because the Therions work with machines, easy include. And yes, Regulus is the most important one. So this ultra rare right here, if you're playing a big engine, you're probably going to be playing 3. However, what's also really important about the Therions is that we have the field spell Discolosseum, which can search any of them. So technically you could play a smaller Therion engine as long as you have 3 of this field spell and your deck doesn't require a field spell itself. So if you don't have a lot of material, it is perfectly fine to maybe have like 2 Discolosseum, 1 Terraforming, maybe 2 Regulus, and then you can already play the engine assuming your deck is machine. Again though, ideally you want to max out this Discolosseum because it is a broken field spell. So in an ideal world, when you want to play a huge Therion package, you're playing 3 Regulus, 3 Discolosseum. The next card is less required and depends on the deck, and that's Endless Engine Argyro System. This is also a Therion card, and if you're playing a giant engine of it, and maybe if your deck can even mill, this is a 3-off. This card will, if it's in the graveyard, allow you to add a Therion back, but if it's in your hand, it's basically a foolish burial for Therions. So you activate this, you send a Therion from your deck to the grave, and then another Therion can special summon itself out, bring back that thing, equip it, and you know, start a bunch of combos. If you're not sure if your deck is going to work with Therions, I would not craft this yet. There were plenty of really good decks using Therion engines that weren't running this card or were maybe running this at 1. Also, very important, do not craft this card. This card is dog shit. I'm sorry Therion fans out there. Yes, if you're playing a pure Therion deck, you might play this, but please, this is not a good card usually, and you really need to just go ham on pure Therion before this card does anything, and most decks weren't really doing that. that. Now for heroics, again, I don't really know. They never really saw competitive play. If that's something you're into, enjoy. Same thing for the heroic call, but those are definitely like the duds in the set. Next, we have Ashura King. This card is solid in like level 3 spam decks, but we haven't really seen that ever since this card came out. So if you're a Phantom Knights player, this might be interesting for you, but it has not seen competitive success yet, even though it's a pretty solid card if you read the effect. Then Symphonic Warrior rocks, okay. Revendred, okay. Libromancer Mystic Girl, okay, it's a Libromancer card. Heroic Challenger, okay. However, here we get a very important card, Therion Lily Borea. I'm actually super happy that this is an SR. In the TCG, this was a secret rare together with Regulus, and so that made the Therion deck extremely expensive. But here in Master Duel, it's only an SR, really good for our wallet. This is the second most important Therion. This is a plant Therion, so you can actually splash it into decks that require plants. For example, Sonavalon or Rika. We actually saw a YCS being won by Rika, but I think that was pure a few months ago. So Therion Lily Borea is basically going to be your plussing engine inside Therion. So where Regulus is a negate, Borea is just going to search you anything you need. So usually if you're playing a bigger Therion engine, you're playing both of them at a variety of copies. It could be 3 or 1, again, depending on how big you want to make the engine. But of course, if you're playing a plant deck like Sonavalon, is an easy 3-off. Heroic Challenger, Geek Boy, again, at 3 if you're playing Libro. Therion Empress, again, dog shit, don't craft this. Symphonic Warrior, okay. Preparation of Rites, pretty solid for ritual decks. Therion Charge, very solid card, but I do have to warn you, usually Therion decks weren't running high copies of this. But I will argue you do want to have one if you're playing a larger Therion engine, because what it allows you to do is once you have your Therion engine rolling, your Borea can always search a charge, and then your charge can almost always draw you 2 cards. So this basically unbricks you whenever you're not bricking on Therions. I really like just having the one in any deck that runs a larger Therion package. Then General Pro, Ravenous Vendred, whatever. Therion Cross, however, is a monster negate that is also searchable with Borea. So once you have your whole Therion set up, playing just one of this allows you to search another negate. And if you have the Endless Engine Argero system in your graveyard, it's not just a negate, it also banishes. So again, if you're going to be playing a huge engine, you might play 1, otherwise you play 0. Then we have the 2 Libromancer traps. I've seen either of them used, but usually only at 1. Then for the lower rarity cards, probably going to be pulling these just manually. A very important card here to talk about is Foom. This is essentially a compulsory evacuation device. Usually when people were playing a big Therion engine, they played one of this because it is very solid going first. Next, we have Therion Bull. This is again a really solid Therion. If people were playing a bigger Therion package, this would sometimes be in deck at 1 because it's very solid going second. It really helps you break boards. Finally, we have Therion Duke Yule. This was usually the weaker of the Therions. The only reason you would play this is because it's a level 8, so you can do like overlay rank 8 plays, and also because it's psychic. When Therions were seeing success together with punks, this could actually work together with the punks because those are also psychic. But beyond that, this card was usually not that great. So that's the crafting guide for this particular pack. It's a pretty solid one, but it's not as crazy as, you know, Branded or Sword Soul in my opinion. I do think we will see Therion ABC doing really well in this game. Libromancer, again, a pretty cool engine to throw into certain weirder types of decks, but if you're looking to compete at like the highest level, the only cards to really maybe consider are Therion, and even there, again, it'll depend. The other pack that came out is Recollection of the Story. This is one of those reprint packs. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this. It's usually just, you know, some cool cards, cute. If you're a Beatrooper fan, cool, but like, this isn't really a cohesive amount of archetypes, and I personally would just save my gems. However, there are 2 more cards that dropped today outside of these packs that are absolutely insane that I do want to talk about. That is Mathmech Circular and Sky Striker Linkage. So Mathmech Circular is basically the last piece of the puzzle that Mathmech needed to compete at the highest level. Back when Power of the Elements came out in August in the TCG, Sprite and Tier started completely destroying the meta, but Mathmech was the 3rd best deck and could still compete with these at a decent level. This was not the case for every other deck, so those 3 were really the top, but Sprite and Tier were still better. However, in Master Duel, we do not have Sprite or Tier, so the 3rd best deck in that crazy format is suddenly legal in Master Duel without those 2 crazy top decks. So it's entirely possible that we will see Mathmech go absolutely crazy. And so if you're a Mathmech player, Circular, it's gonna change your life, and it's very possible that in a week and a half, everyone is crying about the ladder being full of Mathmech. Another card, like I said, Sky Striker Linkage. This this will allow Sky Striker to OTK, and on top of that, the ban list just put Kagari to 2. So this is another thing to keep in mind. We might see Sky Striker getting a solid revival right here. So that was my crafting guide. Let me know in the comments down below what other types of videos you would like to see. If there's any deck profile you would like to see, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.